Okay, so my technology is failing me there. I still have poll 2 there. I don't know whether we're doing poll 3, but that's okay if we're not. But anyway, was it 50, 100, 150, or 200? And the correct answer is 200 free throws every day before practice. 5 years, Salt Lake, Indiana High School. 3 years with Indiana State University. And 12 years with the Celtics. I figured Larry Bird has shot more than 1 million free throws during his career. He has a thing when he was coaching the Pacers, he had a thing, if he ever missed a free throw during practice, all the coaches had to run lines. So the question is, for you, what are you doing an hour before your training starts? Because what I can tell you, Larry was doing was every 18 seconds, he was throwing another free throw. One every 18 seconds to get 200 done in an hour. Every 18 seconds. And during his career, like that free throw percentage at the line during clutch moments, like it was responsible, I think, for winning 13 games during his career. 13 games came down to Larry's free throws in the last minute, because he's a last shot guy like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and all the rest of the guys. He's always double teamed. He always gets fouled. He always goes to the line. And like, 88.3% of the time, he's going to make those shots. Yeah. Okay. Leash Tech. 82 peaks in 62 days. Thought it would be good to get in great shape. I thought it would improve my free climbing abilities because we never used a rope. I thought it would be good because I'm getting to be an old geezer, and you got to keep ramping it up as you get older. So I'm a big fan of that. And D, I just thought it would be fun. And the correct answer is, of course, all 4 are correct, but D, he just said, I just wanted to have an incredibly fun summer. Just hanging out he's Swiss, right? Just hanging out in my backyard. Many of those peaks he had already climbed before, but he said when he was finished that project, he knew the Alps so well. It was unbelievable. 82 peaks, 62 days, man-powered only. It's pretty fun. So my question for you is, what are you doing this summer? Like, keep it fun, like whatever it is, but do the work, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, I was just telling Chris and Maria that I'm basically without work these days because like no athletes are in competition. That's basically all I'm doing with athletes this time of year is either I'm in training with them or I'm in competition with them. So I'm at the cabin 5 days a week, and I'm just like, like just cranking it at the cabin and just like going hard and like, chopping wood and dropping trees and building stuff. And it's like, I'm just super physically active every day from like 7 o'clock in the morning until like 7 o'clock at night. It's just like, I feel just so great, eating super well, just doing my little COVID thing at the cabin all by myself. Very fun. Okay. Every year I spend a bit of time with athletes, offer them that service. And what do you think? Would 10%, would I get 50 people buy into that? No, not 50%. Would 5% buy into it? No, not even 5%. 2.5%, that's about right. I figure I get maybe 12 to 15 athletes a year. So interestingly, this year, 4 cross-country skiers played my little game, right? 3 males and 1 female from a variety of different places around the province. And I hope for the 4 of you that I think most of you are on the call here today, I hope it really helped keep you motivated. So one of them is still going. And we've been doing it through COVID. And I don't charge for the service. It's just really interesting to me that, so the question for you is like, are you getting as much help as you could? Right? Are you taking advantage of the things that are made available to you? And I know when I was a young athlete, opportunities would come up and I think, I don't know, like, why would I bother? Right? Like, and so I think you have to stay committed to the process of no matter what, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And so maybe this year with the program, like Chris and Maria have been working really hard in order to constantly, like, we're trying to make, and I'm happy to do my part. Like, we're trying to make BC the hotbed of cross-country skiing in the province, right? Like, Chris came from that place of Cornell where it was the hotbed. Like it's like that little tennis facility in Russia that has got like 3 old rusty courts and like looks like nothing, and they've produced more top 20 World Cup tennis players than all of the United States has. Like it's like goofy. Like what the heck is it? But it's like it takes so much to produce it. But if athletes don't take advantage of it, then it's like it doesn't become the hotbed, because you got to be able to provide the systems, you got to be able to provide the coaching, you got to be able to provide the opportunities, but athletes also have to take advantage of it. So just that's the question on that one. It's just like, what are you taking advantage of the stuff that you've got? Like, are you taking advantage of the nutrition advice, and are you taking advantage, of all of the training camps that are made available, and are you taking advantage of the research that's out there, and just finding as many ways as you possibly can. Okay, that is it for today's quiz. Hopefully you enjoyed that. The results were outstanding. And now I'm just going to talk a little bit about, are there any questions from Chris or Maria?
Nope, not so far.
Okay. So what are we going to do during, Chris is calling it the general prep phase, which goes till the end of July. So like I say, I'll do a few of my little YouTube podcast things, and you can go and watch those, and I'll try and put some valuable information on them. I'll build up this mental performance page within the system to give you some good book reviews and to highlight some like the Adam Ondra rock climbing thing. So I've done one in the past, which I just called last year. This year I'm calling it the 2020 package, and it's just all sorts of different stuff that's available to you. Good books to read, good podcasts to listen to, good TED Talks to watch, any of that kind of stuff, right? Just stuff that I read a lot of books. I always set a goal for how many books I'm going to read every summer. Summer's a really nice time for me to read books, and so last year I said I'm going to read 12 books over the summer. That's to try and read one a week. And Uli Steck's My Life in Climbing, it was one of those books. And if you just get one good thing out of it, then I just think it's so worthwhile. Like, it doesn't have to be completely transformational. I'm just looking for good things to help me out. I'm looking for good things to help you out. And there are these little gems in these little podcasts and these little book reviews and whatnot that are just things that, I call them, the start of the development of a good habit. And that's what those little gems are. They can be the start of just a really nice habit. This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to pay more attention to what I'm going to do my hour before training, because Larry Bird made great use of his hour before training. Like, unbelievable. Okay. So I will do one of those little podcasts just on the goal setting thing that I've done with all of you, or any of you that have worked with me numerous times. It's in my workbook. But it just comes down to, what do we want for outcomes? What are the performance indicators? What are the things that performance-wise we're after? And then from my perspective, who do you need to be? Like, who is that person that you need to be for every training session? And that's a lot of that. If you text me after the workout, that's the stuff we end up talking about, is like, who were you? Like, you had such a great workout. Like, who were you? And you didn't have a great workout. Like, who were you? And, often it just comes back to these fundamental things that we're trying to do so well with, right? That's the challenge, right? So I'll do one on that. I'm going to do another one on habits. Another book that I read last summer was called Atomic Habits. I got it off a Rich Roll's podcast. He I forget the author's name, but he does an interview with the author. It's awesome. And he's got a little thing there on what he calls Keystone Habits, where it's the development of a habit that kind of like drops 4 or 5 more good habits right into it, right? Like, so it's like you start with the habit, and then that gets you the other 5 good habits for sure. So those are called Keystone Habits. So I'll do a little thing on just exactly how habits work, and what we want our keystone to be is the notion of deep practice. Okay. And deep practice is, at the edge of struggle, it's persistence, it's mindful, it's focused, it's determined or relentless, however you would describe it. In that deep practice place, you're you're very, very absorbed, completely absorbed into it. And then the question is it fun? Like 82 peaks in 62 days, like he did it for fun, but man, there must have been a tremendous amount of suffering to be able to do that. Like over 1,700 kilometers, 117,000 meters of elevation gain. Like it's a pretty crazy undertaking for fun. But that's the thing, like it's like that is the fun in it. Like the fun is in the suffering sometimes. So the notion of deep practice, and then when we do the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star thing, then 3-star, you dove deep into the philosophy of the deep practice, that you were at the edge of struggle, that you were persistent, you were mindful, you did get that determination, you got absorbed, you got what you wanted. And it's like, man, when we really celebrate those 3 stars, because you don't get them every day. And it's like, some of you are so honest and so hard on yourselves. Like, it's like 1-star, 2-star, 1-star, 2-star, 1-star, 2-star. And I think, oh man, some of these have got to be 3-star workouts. And then finally you get a 3-star workout, and then it's like, all of a sudden they start showing up. You realize, oh man, that's what it's all about, right? Like I crushed it. Like that felt so good. And then that's what helps keep us going. Okay, and then so I'll do another little podcast on that, and then I'm going to do a third one. I've got the one that I'll also put up on that page, which is just called the review of the 12 foundational models. But when it comes down to like the thing that we know about Larry Bird is he's all about fundamentals, right? It's just get good at the free throw, man. Like it's gonna save us as a team every once in a while, right? Just get good. It's a fundamental free throw. It's like it's happening. Shaq O'Neal, I don't know if any of you know Shaq. He played for years also in the NBA. His free throw average was 54%. It was totally hilarious to watch him throw a free throw. It was so bad. It was unbelievable. You just think, Shaq, couldn't you practice a little bit more? Okay, so 6 foundational models. We've been through them all before. If not, they're all except one in the workbook. So the first foundational model is 1 day at a time, one thing at a time. So it's like, you're going to do, 6 by 15 minutes. You just do one at a time. And we just keep it as simple as we possible can. And in that process of just simplifying it into one at a time, what we want emotionally neutral workouts. We don't want you to be hard on yourself. We don't want you to go negative, and you don't need to be all loopy positive either. It's just like, we're keeping on the line, right? Like, so on the little symphony line there, nice and steady. That's what we're after. I'm doing a bunch of work right now on the role of emotions in sport. And Adam, when you watch his kinesthetic visualization, he's a very emotional guy. And when you watch him climb, it's like all or nothing. But it's not cross-country skiing. It's like he's got to make the move, and then he's got to make the move. And cross-country skiing is not like that. Cross-country skiing is like, you got to get yourself to that level where you are absolutely physically, technically, strategically, and mentally at your best. And then you got to just work so incredibly hard to stay in that place. And if it goes too high, it's not going to work better. If it goes low, it's not going to work better. You got to keep yourself in that place. And that's the cool thing there. Yeah. And then fundamentals, speaking of them, we always come back to, Dave's big 8: calm, relaxed, grounded, centered, positive, patient, effort, and focus. My definition for grounded is I like myself. I like what I do. I like how I do it. That's real simple. I like myself. I'm good with me. I'm not hard on myself. I'm not all like full of myself. I'm just like, I'm solid. I'm good with me. That's grounded. So calm, relaxed, that's the body and mind state. Grounded, centered my ability to change my mind. Positive, patient. Positive and patient, man, they're just like, they are the virtues of high performance sport. You talk to any elite athlete, they'll tell you, it's like, you got to stay positive. You got to stay patient, because it's going to come. It just takes patience sometimes, and it's frustrating sometimes. And sometimes you're not getting the results, and you've worked so hard in order to try to get some competitive advantage this year, but man, everybody else is working hard too. Right. So it's just like, you're way better than last year, but your results aren't getting any better. Like, it can be really frustrating, but you just got to stay on the program. You just got to keep at it. And then effort and focus, right? And effort and focus go into the magic speedometer. Porridge was too cold. Porridge was too hot. Porridge was just right. So we're always working on that. And then it's like girl A and girl B, or boy A and boy B. I have a lot of fun with that. I was going to make that one of the questions, was what is the characteristic of that high performance athlete in you? And that characteristic is your ability, right, to make yourself uncomfortable. Like, it's such a cool sport, cross country skiing. It's like one of my favorites to work with, because you are so honestly having to work hard every day, right? It's not like hockey. It's like they skate around a little bit and take a rest, right? Skate around a little bit, take a rest, skate around a little bit. They're constantly high five, and they're constantly like, oh, I can't believe how great they are, right? It's like, it's a great sport, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it is like, it's the honest hard work that comes to you as a cross-country skier that you have to persevere through, like day after day after day. That's what I love about it, right? It just is designed to make you suffer. And I appreciate those whom are willing to make themselves suffer. Okay, so just the difference between those two athletes. We'll review that again, as always, because that athlete B, like, there's nothing wrong with that athlete, but they want to be comfortable, they want to be safe, they don't want to get embarrassed, and those aren't the qualities that allow you to push yourself out there. Inside the bubble is where we stay protected. There's a lot of things in the outside world trying to get in there to ruin the party, and your job is to reinforce that bubble and not let anything in. And a lot of stuff can get in. Probably some of you had races last year where you got passed and you hated that. You just hated that. And it doesn't help. It doesn't make for a big finish usually, right? And so it's just like, yeah, I'm getting past. It's good. I'll work hard. I'll try and stay with them. I'll do whatever I can. I'll try to use it as motivation. I'll try to clean up my technique. I'll see if I can. And sometimes you just can't stay with them, or you're just going to kill yourself and not make it to the finish line. So, that's again, the strategic part of the sport is really interesting. That would have made another great question is, for the elite cross-country skiers that I work with, post-race, do we talk about physical? Do we talk about technical? Do we talk about mental? Or do we talk about strategic? And for the elite athletes that I work with, we don't talk physical very often because they got it dialed. We don't talk technical very often because they got it dialed. We don't talk mental very often because they got it dialed. It's the strategies, right? That's the thing. It's also a very strategic sport. How hard do you push, and when do you push? And, like, what do you got to do when somebody passes, and how do you pass? And it's like, that's the stuff that often makes a big difference between races. I know lots of you went to races last year ready to do your best work and just weren't able to get the strategy to drop. And it just is, sometimes it's a bad, misfortunate thing that happens in a mass start or whatever. And it's just like, you just don't get what you wanted. And it's like, it's heartbreaking, right? But it's just all part of it for sure. And then the last thing of those sets is just how that mind really works, and just how our dependence on the subconscious mind is what we're after. 50 people work down there hard for you, and it's remarkable what they can do. And those 5 people up in the conscious mind, they just want to debate all day long and get in the way. And so it's about trusting yourself. It's about believing it's possible. That goes back to Adam Ondra again. It's like he trusts that he can do it, and he's proven he can. Like, it's crazy that he can do the hardest thing in the world as a rock climber first go. It's just insane, right? Trusts himself, believes it's possible. Very cool. Okay, and then once we get into the next phase, or maybe we'll be able to do it in this phase, we'll just see how it goes, but also love to spend time talking about, in pre-training design, we want to get access to those things. Okay, so those are the free drugs that are available to the body. And if you put your workouts together properly, and if you execute your workouts properly on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a season-long basis, dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin, they are all available to you regularly, especially dopamine, which is the highly addictive drug of drugs and alcohol. Interesting, eh? And we get it for free as athletes. It's like, it's that when you're on a roll, you know how good it makes you feel. And it's the serotonin and the oxytocin and the dopamine. And then when you crush a great hard workout and you finish up at the end of the day and you just get this like rush, or when you're out on your runs or you're out on your your road skis right now, like you get those endorphins, and it's just like, that's why so many people are addicted to running, because it's just free drugs that are available. Once the pain stops, the pain masking drugs are still there, and the pain goes away, and you get these drugs that are designed to mask the pain. They're still there. That's the runner's high. That's the skier's high. Okay, that takes me to it takes me to 50 minutes, but I gave Chris a couple at the beginning, so not too bad. So I don't know if there are any questions. I don't know if this has been helpful, but we'll probably roll out that first little podcast within the week, and then we'll just keep them rolling. If you have any questions, you just text me or email me. I'm spending 5 days a week at a cabin right now with no Wi-Fi or cell service. So if you're going to do the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star thing with me, there might be a big delay in my return to you. But if I come back and there's 4 or 5 workouts there that you start up, I'll get back to you about every one of them. I work really hard to try to always make sure I get back to you if you're going to play that game with me. And I'm happy to play it with you. I know for some people, they don't want it, they don't need it. But for other people, if you're having a hard time staying motivated, if you're having a hard time building the drive in your workouts, somebody who's not in the system, I'm not a coach, I'm not part of the organization in any way. I'm just here. I never talk about you with anybody else. Nobody would ever know you're doing anything with me, or just like, it's all completely confidential. It's like, I'm happy to help that way if it can help in any way. Okay, back over to Chris, our host.
Thank you, Dave. That was fantastic, and I think just what we needed going into sort of the heavy hours for the next month or two here for the athletes. To answer Adam's question, Mr. Heel, where do we access these podcasts? We will open up the OneDrive file, which will be a mixture of everything from nutrition. There'll be a nutrition file. There'll be a mental performance file. In the mental performance file, that is where you will see these podcasts that Dave will produce. And he will also, and we'll also send you out a link that just lets you know where they are, but we may even attach that into it. So you actually have them not only in the email, but also you can go to the folder anytime you want. So you'll be able to access them 2 different ways, just so you can access them whenever you want and you don't lose them. And then Madeline, what is your email or phone number, Dave? That is for you.
I just put it in there.
Oh, perfect. Maria just put it in there. That's Dave's contact information. So that is perfect. And as you all know, we are trying to organize it so the development squad will have 2 times that they can have meetings with Dave, and the BC team with 3 times that they can meet with Dave. And then you can organize further times after that with Dave after that. But I think that our goal is to make sure in each phase, we will talk to Dave, and Dave will give a presentation as we go into each phase of training. So the general prep phase, the specific phase, the pre-race phase, just so you guys have a good understanding of where you stand, and give some good information from Dave to you of what you can be thinking about at that time. I think mental really does make up the game for skiing. I think, I mean, training is training. Lots of people train the same, but everyone doesn't have the same focus who is the best. So to be the best, you have to have the focus, but everyone can train, but not everyone has that mental capacity to focus during the training or during racing. And I think to be the best in racing, you have to do the good mental focus during the training. If you don't do it, it's really hard to recreate what you need to do in a race if you haven't practiced it over and over and over before that. Any questions? Thank you very much for those few tidbits in the question box there for everybody. If you have any other questions, please email Dave or myself or Maria, and we will all chat with you next week. I will send out a new schedule. It looks like Monday will be our day for meeting, probably Monday evening, somewhere between, it'll probably end up being somewhere around 5:30-ish or 6 o'clock to 7. If the nutritionist is good for that, we'll switch to then for the next meetings. I will see you guys. I'll see Vancouver and Island people this weekend. So before the next webinar, I'll see some of you, and I will touch base with all the coastal people before then for the BC team specifically. before that meeting. So look forward to my email and Zoom calls from you. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We will chat with you very soon. Have a
Thanks,
good-
Chris.
Thanks very much, Dave.
You bet. Everybody take care, work hard.